Hello, and this is the second video for Notesheet 3.10 revenue. This time we're going to be looking at the revenue for price-making firms. What we mean by that is a firm that faces a downward sloping demand curve. So they can choose a combination of price and quantity that they want. Increase price, they sell a lower quantity. If they reduce the price, they'll sell greater quantity. So as before, we're going to be looking at total revenue, P times Q, average revenue, total revenue divided by quantity, which is again going to be price because we're only going to charge one price. We're going to choose price, we're going to charge that price to everybody. Marginal revenue is the change in total revenue when we change quantity, usually by 1 unit. At this time, we are going to have marginal and average revenue curves that look like this. As you can see, we have this curve here, which is simply our demand curve, and D equals AR again because we're going to charge that one price. So we have a downward sloping demand curve. Now, the marginal revenue curve is steeper than and below the average revenue curve. And in fact, it is actually twice as steep. So this distance here is half the distance here to the end of this line here. Those of you who do maths will know why, and we can explain that a little bit when we look at the total revenue curve. So, why is it below? Why is it steeper than and below the average revenue curve? Well, in order to sell that extra unit, we have to sell it at a lower price. We have to cut our price, but we have to cut the price of every unit that we sell. Okay, we can't sell some at a high price and some at a low price. That we're not allowed to do that in this model. So if we're going to cut our price to sell another unit, we have to cut up the price of every unit we sell, and as a result, marginal revenue falls faster than average revenue. Okay, so what does the total revenue curve look like? The total revenue curve looks like this. Total revenue, as you cut your prices or you increase your output, total revenue increases, and then turns down. And where does it turn down? Well, it turns down where marginal revenue equals 0. Okay, so when marginal revenue is positive, you sell an extra unit, your total revenue goes up. When marginal revenue is negative, it's below here, your total revenue decreases as you produce that extra unit. Okay, so a really important thing to try and remember is that total revenue is maximized when MR equals 0. Okay, so total revenue maximized here, and this is the flat part of that diagram. And moving on, what that means, or something that we can do with this, is we can link this to elasticity. Because as I'm sure you remember, if you increase your price and you face inelastic demand, your revenue will increase. If you increase your price and you face elastic demand, your revenue will decrease. And so this point here is important. It splits the demand curve into two. At this point here, demand is PED is unitary. Here it's elastic, greater than 1, and this side to the right, it's inelastic, less than 1. If we go back a slide, we can see that in action. If we increase our price here and sell less, we increase our price, our total revenue goes up. So we must have had inelastic demand. If we're here in this part of the demand curve here, then if we increase our price, we sell less, our quantity falls, and our revenue falls. So that suggests that this portion here is elastic,